Good morning, Cheshire County. Today we have Suzanne Barba, a local CPA from Chester County, tell us all about new COVID-19 stimulus plans, PPP, EIDL, unemployment compensation, and of course, she's here to answer any questions you might have. So stay tuned and thank you for joining today. Suzanne, I really appreciate you coming back after we had you here last April, I believe, to talk about.
It was, yeah.
We were into uncharted territories. We had never been hit with something this big that has affected not only the U.S. but the nations worldwide,
Uh-huh.
and it has hit us hard, very hard.
Yes, yes, yes. Businesses, individuals, individuals who own businesses, all of them, right? Who would have thought a year later we would be sitting in essentially the same spot we were? Like it's such a challenging time.
I mean, we were told it was going to get better, and nobody knew this monster virus, which has just devastated all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, one good thing is U.S. federal and state governments and local governments are working together to provide some assistance to people who have been affected.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, in December, the Congress passed some new stimulus packages, and a lot of people have already received some funding, the stimulus checks,
Mm-hmm.
and businesses are now eligible to apply for some grants and loans, and unemployment compensation has been extended and expanded. So people are anxious. They want to know how they can take advantage of all this and whether they are eligible.
Mm-hmm.
So you are the expert here. So that's why we wanted to hear from you so people can take the necessary action. Why don't you tell us about the stimulus plan and what are the different updates that people can take advantage of?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Bipin. And, thank you for having me back. For those of you who don't remember when I was on this call, geez, I guess that was 8 months ago. My name is Suzanne Barba. I am a local CPA. I specialize in tax and have been doing this for more than 25 years. The economic challenges of 2020 have been huge, and they have now, right, gone into 2021. There was a relief package that came out in April, but you know what? That was just drained so quickly. And unfortunately, it took a long time to get another package. But I'm happy to say that at the end of December, President Trump signed a new package of legislation that is aimed at COVID-related tax relief. And you could think of it as round two of the legislation from earlier this year. So that huge amount of legislation, over 5,600 pages. But as Bipin said, today we're going to focus on the 2020 economic impact payments, the payment protection plan loans, and other small business support. And if we have time, we'll talk about the extension of unemployment benefits. I would also want to add with the incoming Democratic majority Senate, as well as, President Biden's plans, you will definitely see another round, right? He's already talking about another economic impact payment, and he's also talking about expanding the payment protection payment loans. So there's more to come. But let's talk about what's there now, because so much of this has a March 31st deadline. So as Bipin said, you should have, if you are eligible, you should have already received your 2020 economic impact payment. So that was included in this round of legislation, but different than the last time, because last time you were eligible, if you were eligible, you could get up to $1,200 per adult and $500 per dependent under the age of 17. This new round is $600 per eligible adult and $600 per dependent child under 17. So if you are married and you have 2 children, right, you should be looking at a payment of $2,400 as long as you fit within the payment parameters. So, one of the things that also came up this time that wasn't there last time is mixed status households. So if one of the spouses is a non-citizen, they are now eligible for that $600 payment. That was not true the last time. So similar to the first round, there's a payment phase out, and that payment phase out, you lose 5%, right, of the $600 for every dollar that your 2019 adjusted gross income. So that's off looking at your 2019 tax return. If you're over the threshold of $75,000 for a single taxpayer or $150,000 for a married filing joint, you will begin to lose a little bit of the $600 for every dollar you are over those 2 thresholds. The legislation also included a deadline for payment. So those payments needed to be made by January 15th of this year. So whether you got a direct deposit, whether you got one of those little credit cards that the government was sending out, you should have received your payment already. And you know what, like the first one, this needs to be reconciled against your 2021 taxable income. So to the extent you got a payment and you're over the threshold, by the time you do your 2021 tax return, you're going to need to pay that back. And if you're eligible and you did not receive it for some reason, right, it is a refundable credit on your tax return. So you'll get it when you file your 2021 tax return.
Quick question. So, is this income taxable? Is this a stimulus check taxable?
It would be added back in only if you exceed the thresholds.
Okay.
Otherwise, no.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's free money.
Right.
Small amount of free money, but free money. The idea, right? So the idea is to give money to people so that they could put it back into the economy, to spend it, to help stimulate the economy.
Right, because so many local businesses are hurting, and it is in our mutual interest to help local small businesses by spending, hopefully, in the where you live or work.
Yes.
Okay, and then you are talking about this stimulus money, and can you now tell us about? Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I was going to move right on to the Payment Protection Program loans, because that is a hot topic.
Yes. Please do.
Yeah. So the legislation included over $300 billion for first and second forgivable PPP, so that's Payment Protection Program, PPP loans. And out of that $300 billion, $41 billion is set aside to ensure that the smallest of borrowers and the underserved communities get the help that they need. So overall, different than the first go round, right? Overall, this $300 billion is only available for small businesses with 10 or fewer employees. It's also available for small community lenders, as well as independent live venue operators. So if you're thinking of movie theaters and museums, no businesses that are publicly traded. So that was what some of the feedback that was received the first time around, that some larger businesses were getting all of the money. Well, this time, no, that's not that's supposed to happen. If you have 300 or fewer employees and you've sustained a 25% revenue loss in any quarter of 2020 as compared with the same period of 2019, and that's a calendar quarter, right? You are eligible for the 300, for a portion of the $300 billion loan. And just to be clear, the 41 billion is really for those micro businesses, those businesses that have 10 or fewer employees. So there is truly a feeling that we want to get money out into the smallest of the small businesses. And if you're working in an area that is underserved, then there's definitely an entrance to getting that loan. So like the last cycle, applying for a PPP is going to be very similar in that it's going to be administered through a bank. So you would go to your bank or another bank, right? And look if they have an application portal. So currently I know WISFIS and PNC are accepting applications. They both have client portals that you can go in to apply. And that ability to apply only started this past week. So it's, even though that legislation was signed at the end of December, it's only been, I think it was as of the 19th, that portals are able to be open. So banks are going to be the intermediary. They are the administrator, but it is the SBA, the Small Business Administration, that makes this final decision on the loans. Like last cycle, the maximum amount of loan that a business may be eligible for is going to be based on 2.5 times the average monthly payroll costs, up to $2 million. And if you're in a food industry business, so restaurants, the eligibility is 3.5 times your average monthly payroll. So you can see where the government is really trying to get to those hardest hit businesses, the small micro businesses, as well as the restaurants that have been hit so hard by this pandemic.
Absolutely. And, it's so saddening that many restaurants had to shut down
Mm-hmm.
permanently.
I think I read that 70% of the restaurants that closed during COVID-19 will not open again.
Right. I mean, traditionally always did not eat out as much, but during pandemic, I have felt it is my civic duty to just go and help local small restaurants, local small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as far as the PPP loan application process, you mentioned PNC and
WISFIS.
this. Yeah. Now, in Chester County, one of the a very important option that is available is we have the First Resource Bank.
Mm-hmm.
That has been very, very hospitable and very inviting to local businesses to apply. Now, I remember last year when it all started, banks would say, if we can only accept your application if you had a working relationship with us. But First Resource Bank, they were saying that even if you don't have had been our customer, we invite you. I had Glenn Marshall, the CEO of First Resource Bank, on the show a few months ago, and they have done tremendous job in helping out. So I would tell our viewers that definitely contact them.
Yes.
At,
Yeah.
because large banks, they were not really very receptive in accepting applications.
Yes, I would. So when you think about, so I would agree. First Resource Bank is a great local bank. I didn't have experience with First Resource Bank, but I do have contacts there, right? So that if someone said, oh, you know, I could use some help, someone to speak with. But TD Bank was also really good. I have worked with TD Bank with some clients to get their first round of PPP loan. And I just really, as you said, you don't need to have an account there. And when you think about it, the banks are getting paid to administer that loan. So there is some incentive for them to allow, you know, non-account holders today to apply. What I found with at least one client is that although they were banking at M&T, they were able to get a PPP loan through WSFS, and they kept the account. You know, that's where they left their funds. Their PPP funds was at WSFS because they really wanted to ensure that they could get forgiveness of that loan. So the only thing they took out of that WSFS account were for expenditures that qualified for forgiveness. So it really showed a good way to separate, right, their regular operating expenses from their ones that would be eligible for forgiveness under PPP.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I certainly hope in this round more small businesses are able to take advantage, because last time around, as you said, large corporations who did not need the money got the money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
banks and large banks, multinational banks, they say, you know, it's just easier for us to deal with large corporations because they were done
Yes.
less processing time rather than dealing with multiple small businesses.
Right. And those large corporations had, you know, someone who already had a relationship
Right.
with a banker and could, you know, fast track that
Yeah.
application, whereas the smaller ones didn't.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment. We're going to do a little segue. I have to do a plug because we were talking about, you know, how hard hit restaurants
Right.
are in the area. So I am part of the Longwood Rotary Club, and for the Kennett Square area, the Longwood Rotary Foundation has put up money to buy gift certificates from approximately 26 local restaurants within the Kennett Square area. And now what we've done is we have a raffle. So raffle tickets are $20, and for a $20 ticket, you are entered into a drawing for 14 different gifts. The first prize is $1,500 worth of gift certificates to local restaurants. So it's called grubgrab.org. And you could buy tickets through that website, or they are also sold at some local venues, which are also listed on the website. So for $20, what a great way to support local restaurants. And really, it's the the foundation has gone out and bought those gift certificates, but the $20 is your way of, you know, helping the restaurants out a little bit, and then hey, you may win all those gift certificates. How
Right.
great is that?
Hey, Suzanne, when you get a chance, can you type in that in the comment section so that people can get that link to buy the raffle tickets?
Yep.
Uh,
So let me
yeah,
just do it now.
right. And then
Well,
we have a couple of questions also that I want to talk about.
is that, you could see that, right? Grubgrab.org.
Uh,
I can't tell if I'm in private. That's all.
no, this is in private chat. Okay, I'll put it in there. I'll put it in the. 1 second. Okay, so okay, let me put that in the comment section. Okay, so I just put that in the comment section. So this is the link that people can go to buy those raffle tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I have a couple of remarks here. We have Sharon Tatum asking this question.
Is there any help for a small startup business at this time? So, Sharon, generally, as I said, to get the PPP, you're doing a comparison of 2019 to 2020 calendar quarters. If you weren't in business in 2019, you're still eligible to apply for a PPP. It's just that the comparison periods will change. You'll do a comparison of, say, your earliest quarter to a current quarter. Unfortunately, when we go back to April, there were EIDL grants, EIDL, Economic Impact Disaster Loan grants. Those grants aren't available anymore. But I will tell you, the PPP, I would say apply for one, because it's like free money. And if you need help, if you need help applying, go to my website and you could send me a message. And I have, helped so many businesses, no charge, right? Just help them get through the paperwork, the online paperwork of applying, because, small businesses, it's so important. Unfortunately, Chester County had another number of programs as well. That money is all depleted as well. So at this point, I would say federally is the best way to go.
Now, PPP, what is the level of forgiveness? Because we have another question from Margarita.
Okay. So that's my next section. Hi, Margarita. Let's talk about the PPP and the forgiveness. So PPP forgiveness, and that's like the beauty of this loan. If you apply and receive a PPP loan, you can use that loan for whatever you need to in your business. However, it's a loan. If you want the loan forgiven, then you have to use it in certain ways. So you had to use 60% for payroll and 40% for operating expenses. And in the first round, operating expenses were really limited to utilities, or rent, or a mortgage payment. This round, right, which is known as PPP 2.0, we have similar limitations on payroll, and 60% payroll, 40% operating expenses. But what they've done is they've expanded those categories. So now, besides payroll, you can include group benefits. So if you had, vision plan or a dental plan, that's considered part of your salary number. And then your operation costs include, and this may be relevant for you, Margarita, right? Business software or services that you pay for, like payroll administration. So whether you're, so I guess I would say, thinking about you and your business, to the extent you are providing services for another business, your bills, your invoices could be considered, right, part of the operation expenses that another business could use as part of, and get it forgiven through PPP. or for you yourself, right? If you're buying business software or cloud-based services, those expenses for your business would be eligible for forgiveness. The other thing they added in there is if you needed to spend money for personal protection gear, so that PPE, beginning, and it's retroactive, the amounts that you spent for that PPE retroactive to March 1, 2020 are also eligible in the for forgiveness. So if you get a loan, and let's say that loan is $10,000, you have $6,000 that has to go to payroll, and $4,000 that goes to these other operating expenses. If you've spent that money in that way, your loan is forgiven. To the extent you haven't spent the money totally in things that are qualified for forgiveness, you still have the loan. It's still got a long tail on it for forgiveness, but it'll be a loan. Does that help?
Yeah, that was good information. Okay, I have now another question for you. If small business does not have any employees, it is just the business owner or a partner,
Yep.
then and if they are not getting a W-2
Salary.
or 1099, are they eligible to apply? I know in the first phase they were not.
So initially, right, if you were a sole proprietor, you were not eligible. However, now you are. Well, I'm sorry, they changed it in round 1, and round 2, you're still eligible. It's a question of how you calculate, right, what your earnings were. And those earnings are going to be based on looking at your profitability, your business profitability quarter by quarter, as well as, if you're working for another business and you receive a 1099, say, at year end from them, that will figure in as well. But you'd be looking at your profit and loss for your business on a calendar quarter by quarter basis and comparing those two.
Okay, but if the business does not have, they're not drawing.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to draw. You don't have to draw. You don't have to. That's being a sole proprietor.
Right,
many don't, right? Unless
or would it be LLC with two partners, a husband and wife?
Yes, it's LLC.
Right.
So every business should be registered as a limited liability company with the state, because that limits your personal exposure for business losses. So that's the foundation. You say, I want to have a business. I will tell you the next thing you should do is register with the state so that you're a limited liability company. From there, you decide, how do I want to be taxed? And then it's a tax concept, whether you're just going to be, a sole proprietor, right? Whether you're going to be a S corporation, whether you're going to be a partnership. So first step is at the state level, and that's becoming an LLC. Second is at the federal level of how you want to be taxed. And for the most part, the states follow federal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you said that in this rollout, there is no money for grant?
There's no idle grants. There are still idle loans, but there's no idle grants. And even with the idle loans, what the Small Business Administration says is, you know what? Don't apply again. If you applied once, we'll contact you if there's money for you. So I would say, yes, idle loans are there, but PPP would be the way I would go.
So you're saying don't count on EIDL loans.
Well, I would try PPP first. I
Right.
just think it's preferable,
Yeah.
especially since it has a forgiveness factor.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, the forgiveness, because that was something that was up in the air since the first round. How do you apply for forgiveness? Because there wasn't a form, and each bank was going to do it its own way.
Right.
And
Right.
there were reports you would have to submit. So if you received in the first round a loan of $150,000 or less,
Mm-hmm.
or in this round, you receive a loan of $150,000 or less, it's just a certification. There's a form. The form just came out this week. The form, let's see, I wrote it's form 3508 or form 3508EZ. And it's just a certification that the borrower completes that says that, I have used the funds in the way directed, the 60/40. You have to keep records, right? You can't
Absolutely.
just, you're signing it. So, you're attesting, and you have to keep your records for 4 years, but you have the ability, right, to an easy way to get the forgiveness.
Right. And then you want to tell people about unemployment programs, whether on the federal or on the state level.
Yeah. So this is at the federal level. So if you remember back to the spring, if you were eligible for state benefits, you apply, which, it took a long time to coordinate, but you always had state benefits under unemployment. But there were never federal benefits under unemployment. What came about in the first round of legislation is an additional up to $600 per week that was being provided by the federal government. That money ran out, right? So if your state unemployment still follows the normal schedule, and when you are complete with that, I forget how many weeks state unemployment goes, but when you extinguished all those weeks, you just had no more unemployment. This federal piece extends what was the $600 per week, but it's a federal program. It's not the state program. And instead of it being $600 a week, it is going to be $300 a week. So where the federal supplemental benefits expired on, say, December 31st, 2020, it's extended through March 14th of 2021. And instead of it being $600 per week, it's $300 per week. So the one thing I'm not sure of, Bipin, and I didn't see anything when I looked at the Pennsylvania website. Suppose you extinguished your state benefits, right? But you would still be eligible for your federal, because in the past, Pennsylvania, for Pennsylvania, right, residents, Pennsylvania administered both their Pennsylvania program and the federal program. So I am assuming they're going to continue to administer the federal. So if you're not eligible for state, but you're still eligible for the federal, my thought is you still go into that Pennsylvania unemployment site and you enter in your information weekly, just like you would have done before, to say this is how many hours I've worked or I haven't worked, and then you get the federal payment.
Right. Now, I just want to share one tip, because unemployment compensation, the department, they've been so overwhelmed with the unprecedented number of applicants that many people have had a lot of difficulty getting answers.
Yes.
Now, I had one of the local state representatives on my show last year, and she told me that if people are having difficulty connecting with any state or federal government departments, to contact their local state representatives or
Mm-hmm.
state senators if they are having difficulty with connecting or getting answers from unemployment department. So
Yes.
that is one huge benefit. These representatives and senators are watching out for their constituents, and they are able to have somebody from their department contact you rather than you trying to contact them and not getting anywhere. So that is one thing that I would like to remind all of our viewers that they should do that.
Mm-hmm. I would also add, Bipin, is that so I'm a member of the Southern Chester County Chamber of Commerce, and I know there's a lot of chambers around. There's one in Exton, but so I don't have a good way to compare. But I will tell you, the Southern Chester County Chamber does so much in putting together these kinds of sessions with local representatives. So, or members of the state chamber of commerce. So, you don't have to be a member sometimes to listen to those or to participate in those sessions. And I know there have been times when someone has put in the chat, I cannot get to the person I need to for unemployment. What can I do? And someone there is willing to help. So, other chambers may do something similar, but I just know that the Southern Chester County Chamber does that. I forget what SC, I forget how many C's are there. Southern Chester County Chamber of Commerce, SCCC.
Right. Yeah. Just reach out to your local chamber of commerce, if
Mm-hmm.
and they would guide you. Other thing that I have had personal experience is last year I had applied for SBA loans. I was not getting anywhere. You call and they say we're working on it. We don't have an answer.
No, they don't.
I finally reached out to my U.S. representative, and her office called me right away. And
Mm-hmm.
within 48 hours, I got a call from SBA,
Wow.
and I just got my funding. So if you are stuck, reaching out to your local or federal representatives or senators
Mm-hmm.
is the best way to resolve, because they have constituent services team working inside their offices, and they can get help.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I agree because the state offices. So if you're trying to reach someone in the state offices aren't open.
Right.
The the
Working from
federal
home.
offices are working remotely. So, it's so hard to get anyone's attention. So
Right.
yeah, I would say going through your local representative or your federal representative, because those people are working. Those people are there.
Yeah, I mean, there may be delay, but you will get help. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, Suzanne, now we want to just sum it up what we have talked. So,
Mm-hmm.
if we can, in a couple of minutes, talk about the stimulus package and the PPP loans as a summary.
Mm-hmm.
This way, people can
Yeah.
benefit.
So this is all about money, right? Getting money in. And you should have already received the money from the economic stimulus. So that's for individuals. You should have received that already. If you don't, you have the opportunity to take it when you file your 2021 tax return. From a business perspective, there are the PPP program 2.0 is open and rolling. It ends March 31st. So if you want to see if you're eligible for a loan, up to $2 million, you would go to a local bank. They probably have a portal available and apply. Forgiveness, the loan is 60%, I'm going to say 60% payroll, 40% other expenses, other operating expenses. Those categories have been expanded. If you meet those categories, and the measurement period is either 8 or 24 weeks, you elect which period you want to use as the business owner for the time you get funded. Then if you meet it, the loan is forgiven. And the other important point is, so, this is more of a tax concept, but if you are forgiven a loan, generally it's income to you, right? Because someone essentially gave you money because you're not paying them back. But this PPP forgiveness will not be income on your tax return. So that's good. Yeah. And, best thing, the forgiveness is really free money. And certification is easy, right? You have to keep records. You can't just certify and not have anything behind it. But yeah, I would encourage any small business owner to apply. And as I said before, you need help, reach out to me through my website. I'm happy to help you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. And for the unemployment, again, definitely reach out to the unemployment
right.
department.
That unemployment was extended, the $300 federally, not state, federally. Yeah. So, and let me make that plug for grubgrab.org. Go get your $20 ticket and, enjoy some great takeout or possibly eat in dinner in the Kennett Square area.
The grubgrab.org.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Suzanne, I really appreciate you joining us and spending so much time with us, educating our viewers, educating our businesses on what options are available, and who to reach out to if they have questions. They can definitely reach out to you. And thank you for being so generous about giving back to the community. As you know, we are all in it together, and it is very important that we keep on supporting local small businesses.
Yes, that's right. That's the backbone of our community, or our businesses. And whether you're out spending the money you receive as an economic stimulus check, or you're trying to get money to keep your business going, that's what we need.
Right. And we do this show every Saturday at 10 o'clock, and we have we're bringing you new local small businesses to highlight their services so that people know that these businesses and these services exist in our community. And rather than going to a big box store, help out local businesses, support local restaurants, small business restaurants, rather than chain restaurants wherever you can. Next Saturday, again, we will have a new guest, so I would invite you to join in. And if you are a small business and want to be on the show, reach out to me and we can talk. And we all really appreciate, Suzanne, you again for joining. And again, if there are any major changes coming up in the coming months, we would love to have you back to,
Sure. I'm happy to share. And, if you want to sign up for my newsletter on a monthly basis, I send out summaries of what is going on from an individual and business tax perspective.
Right. Yeah, I have checked out your website and also your Facebook page, where you provide a lot of good information to the public.
Thank you
for that. So, Suzanne, I really appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you have an amazing day and stay warm.
Okay. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.